The most dangerous enemy is not the one who openly despises you. It is the one who shakes your hand while waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Most people believe that threats are obvious. They expect enemies to be loud, aggressive, and confrontational. But history tells a different story. Some of the greatest betrayals and downfalls were not caused by visible opponents. They were orchestrated by those who pretended to be allies. Julius Caesar never expected Brutus to be among his assassins. In the modern world, corporate scandals and personal betrayals often come from those who were once trusted. The terrifying truth is that some people do not just dislike you, they want to see you fall. They are patient, calculating, and dangerous. They do not act on impulse. They observe, plan, and wait. The problem is that most people never see it coming. They dismiss their intuition. They ignore the small signs until it is too late. Today, you will learn the 5 unmistakable signs that separate simple hatred from something far more sinister. These are the warning signals that could mean the difference between staying safe and becoming a victim. Stoic philosophy teaches us to see the world clearly, to separate illusion from reality, and to act with wisdom. By the end of this video, you will know how to identify those who are not just against you, but those who seek to destroy you. And more importantly, you will know how to protect yourself before it is too late. But first, you must understand your greatest enemy may already be watching, and by the time you notice, they might already be one step ahead. So ask yourself, do you truly know who is on your side and who is simply waiting for the perfect moment to take you down? Sign 1. The silent observer. They watch, they wait, they strike. The most dangerous threats are not the ones that announce themselves. A predator that roars before it strikes gives its prey a chance to escape. But the deadliest ones do not make a sound. They watch, they wait, and by the time you realize you were being watched, it is already too late. Some people do not just dislike you. They want to know everything about you, not out of curiosity, but with intention. They observe your routines, your weaknesses, and your vulnerabilities. And the scariest part is that they rarely make themselves obvious. A person like this does not argue with you. They do not spread rumors. They do not threaten. They do something far worse. They stay silent. They watch. They collect. They blend in. And by the time you realize they have been studying you, it is already too late. Michael, a marketing executive, never thought much about his co-worker, David. David was always friendly, always polite, and never caused any trouble. But over time, something strange happened. David always seemed to know where Michael would be. At first, it seemed like coincidence. Then Michael noticed that David was appearing more and more in his daily routine. At the gym, at the coffee shop, even at his favorite bookstore. One day, Michael overheard David mentioning a personal project that he had never discussed with him. That was when he realized the truth. David had been quietly gathering information about him for months, and when a promotion opportunity came up, David used that knowledge to undermine Michael, convincing their boss that Michael was unreliable. By the time Michael understood what had happened, it was too late. This is what makes the silent observer so dangerous. They do not threaten you directly. They do not act on impulse. Their greatest strength is patience, and their goal is simple: to know you better than you know yourself. Because the more they know, the easier it is to strike at the perfect moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought." If you ignore the signs, if you dismiss your instincts, you allow the silent observer to remain invisible. In today's world, it does not take much effort to track someone. A person like this does not need to hack your phone. They just need to pay attention. A friend tags you at a restaurant. A colleague mentions your gym in passing. A neighbor comments on your work schedule. Piece by piece, they build a map of your life. So how do you protect yourself? First, pay attention. Not with fear, but with awareness. Who always seems to be where you are, who knows things they should not. Who makes you feel uneasy even when nothing seems outright wrong. Second, trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. Do not dismiss your instincts just because you cannot explain them logically. Third, control the information you give away. Be mindful of what you share, even with people you think are harmless. A man like David did not attack Michael physically. He did not openly sabotage him, but he positioned himself so well that when the moment was right, he delivered a devastating blow. The worst mistake you can make is assuming you are not being watched. Sign 2, the quiet betrayal. death by 1,000 cuts. Not all attacks come with a warning. Some are slow, deliberate, and carefully hidden beneath the surface. Like poison slipped into a drink over time, the damage is done before you even realize what is happening. The most dangerous enemies are not the ones who openly oppose you. They are the ones who smile in your presence while silently unraveling everything you have built. At first, their actions seem harmless. A comment here, a small misunderstanding there, but over time the damage adds up. They do not strike like a sword. They erode like water against stone. And before you know it, you are standing alone, wondering how everything fell apart. Emily, a dedicated professional, once believed that office politics were just part of life. A difficult co-worker, occasional disagreements, nothing unusual. But then she noticed a shift. Her boss, who once valued her input, now seemed distant. Colleagues who used to confide in her had grown cold. Invitations to team meetings stopped coming. At first, she questioned herself. Had she offended someone? Had she made a mistake? But the pattern became clear. Someone was working against her, not by attacking her directly, but by planting seeds of doubt. A rumor here, a twisted version of an innocent comment there, a suggestion that she was unreliable. She never found out exactly who started it, but she did not need to. The damage had already been done. This is how betrayal works when it is crafted with patience. It does not strike suddenly. It unfolds in the background while you remain unaware. And by the time you recognize what is happening, it is often too late. The Stoics understood this kind of manipulation well. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, was surrounded by people who sought his downfall, not through battle, but through deceit. He wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know the truth." A person who lives by appearances, who relies on the shifting opinions of others, will always be vulnerable to such attacks. But the one who builds strength from within remains untouched by deception. So how do you protect yourself? First, recognize that reputation is fragile, but character is unbreakable. Others may control how you are perceived, but they cannot control who you are. As Epictetus said, if someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself. Instead, live in such a way that no one will believe them. Second, observe without emotion. Do not become consumed by paranoia, but also do not be blind. If misunderstandings and conflicts always seem to surround a certain person, pay attention. If trust is eroding around you without cause, look for the source. Third, fortify your inner circle. A person who stands alone is easy to manipulate. Strengthen bonds with those who know your true nature. The right people will recognize lies for what they are. Seneca warned, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. Betrayal is not always loud, but those who seek to undermine you can only succeed if you base your worth on the shifting opinions of others. Stand firm, see clearly, and never give an enemy more power than they deserve. But what if the enemy is not just manipulating opinions? What if they are standing right next to you, pretending to be your closest friend? Sign 3. The mask of friendship, the enemy beside you. The most dangerous enemy is not the one who stands against you. It is the one who stands beside you, wearing the face of a friend. Betrayal rarely comes from a stranger. It comes from those who have earned your trust. Those you have let into your life. Those who have infiltrated your world so deeply that by the time you realize their true nature, they already know exactly where and how to strike. A false friend does not need to destroy you immediately. They take their time. They build trust. They learn your weaknesses. And when the time is right, they use everything they know against you. James, a successful project manager, was always careful about who he trusted. But when he switched jobs and met Daniel, things felt different. Daniel was not just a co-worker. He quickly became a close friend, always willing to listen, always there to offer advice, always eager to know more about James's life. Within months, Daniel knew everything, his routines, his ambitions, his struggles. He even became friendly with James's family, earning their trust as well. Then, strange things started happening. A project James had been working on for months was suddenly reassigned. Private details he had only shared with Daniel were being used against him in the office. And the worst part, when he confronted Daniel about it, Daniel simply laughed it off as if nothing was happening. This is what makes the false friend so terrifying. Unlike an obvious enemy, they do not challenge you directly. They do not argue. They do not threaten. Instead, they embed themselves into your world, making you believe they are someone you can trust. And once they have access to your secrets, your routines, your vulnerabilities, they turn that trust into a weapon. A Stoic would warn against blind trust. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be wary of those who are too eager to stand by your side. For the man who needs to prove his loyalty is often the one most likely to betray you." A genuine friend earns trust over time through actions, not words. But a false friend rushes the process, trying to break down your defenses before you even realize you are under attack. Think about the people in your life. Has someone recently taken a sudden and unusual interest in you? Have they gone from being distant to wanting to know every detail about your world? Where you go, who you see, what worries keep you up at night? Do they position themselves as your greatest supporter, only to subtly encourage your doubts and fears? A true friend wants what is best for you. A false friend wants access to your thoughts, your habits, your weaknesses. Because access is power, and power in the wrong hands is dangerous. History is full of betrayals that followed this exact pattern. Julius Caesar never expected Brutus, someone he trusted as a close ally, to stand among his assassins. But as Seneca wisely noted, a prosperous man often has the most to fear, not from his enemies but from his friends. When you have something valuable, your career, your peace of mind, even just the stability of your daily life, there will always be those who seek to take it for themselves. And the easiest way to do that is not through force, but through deception. So how do you protect yourself? First, be aware of sudden shifts in how people treat you. If someone is too eager to befriend you, too insistent on knowing your every thought, ask yourself why. Second, be patient. A genuine friendship develops over time. But a false friend moves quickly because their goal is not companionship. It is control. Finally, protect your inner world. Not everyone deserves to know your plans, your fears, your vulnerabilities. Epictetus taught, the more you reveal of yourself, the more you give others the power to use it against you. Choose carefully, because the greatest danger is not always from those who oppose you. It is from those who stand close enough to whisper in your ear while holding a knife behind their back. Sign 4. The gradual attack, escalation before the strike. No one descends into violence without warning. Before a storm unleashes its full force, the air grows heavy, the wind shifts, and the sky darkens. Likewise, when someone harbors true malice, they rarely strike outright. They test. They escalate. They observe how much they can get away with before making their final move. And if you fail to recognize these signs, you may not realize the danger until it is too late. A person intent on harming you does not start with an open threat. Instead, they push boundaries. First, it is a joke about violence. Then it is a passive-aggressive remark laced with hidden menace. Next, it is a casual display of a weapon, a small but deliberate push, an invasion of personal space. Each act is a calculated test, not just to intimidate you, but to see how far they can go before you resist. Nathan, an experienced engineer, always dismissed his co-worker Eric's dark humor. Eric would joke about hurting people, about how he could snap at any moment, always with a laugh that made it seem harmless. One day, he casually mentioned how easy it would be to get rid of someone without leaving a trace. Nathan chuckled along, assuming it was just another twisted joke. But soon, things shifted. Eric began invading his space, standing too close, blocking doorways as if testing his reaction. Then, he started bumping into Nathan with increasing force. One afternoon, Eric slammed a heavy object onto Nathan's desk and whispered, "Imagine if that was your head." That was when Nathan realized this was not a joke. It never had been. This is how escalation works. It begins with subtle intimidation disguised as humor or accidental encounters. The person watches how you react. If you laugh it off, they push further. If you remain silent, they take it as permission. This is why Stoicism teaches that true strength does not come from ignoring danger, but from recognizing it without fear. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, you cannot afford to turn a blind eye to these signs. Avoiding confrontation does not make the threat disappear. It only gives them more room to escalate. So what do you do? First, acknowledge the pattern. If someone repeatedly makes violent remarks, displays aggression, or violates your personal space, do not dismiss it as harmless. Second, set boundaries immediately. A Stoic does not react with fear, but neither do they tolerate unnecessary threats. Address it firmly. Make it clear that certain behaviors are unacceptable. If necessary, remove yourself from their reach. Third, take action before it is too late. If you see the pattern escalating, document interactions, seek support, and if needed, distance yourself from the person entirely. Seneca warned, "A sword never kills anybody by itself. It is merely the hand that wields it." Violence does not erupt without cause. It is preceded by warning signs. And the sooner you recognize those signs, the better your chances of stopping the danger before it fully unfolds. The greatest mistake you can make is believing that danger will reveal itself before it is too late. The truth is, real threats often build quietly, step by step, until the final strike comes when you least expect it. Stay aware, stay strong, and never ignore what your instincts are telling you. Sign 5. The long game, the patient enemy. Some threats are loud, reckless, and impulsive. Others are silent, deliberate, and patient. And those are the ones you should fear the most. The most dangerous enemy is not the one who acts in anger. It is the one who waits, the one who studies, the one who plays the long game. A person like this does not seek immediate destruction. Instead, they take their time, planting small seeds of doubt, gaining your trust, and positioning themselves where they can cause the most damage. Their weapon is not force, it is patience. Ethan, the financial analyst, always trusted his instincts. He could sense hostility, detect deception, and had avoided trouble more than once because of it. But what he never saw coming was Daniel, a co-worker who had always been supportive, friendly, and reliable. Daniel never argued, never seemed envious, never showed a hint of ill intent. He was always there, always helpful. Over the years, Ethan confided in him his career plans, his finances, even his personal struggles. What Ethan did not realize was that Daniel was collecting every detail, not out of friendship, but out of calculation. One day, an important promotion was suddenly given to someone else. Private matters Ethan had only shared with Daniel being whispered about in the office. His reputation, once solid, was now in question, and just like that, his stability began to collapse. By the time Ethan realized what had happened, the damage was already done. This is the nature of the patient enemy. They do not rush. They do not act out of impulse. They plan. Unlike those who lash out in anger, these individuals use time as their weapon, ensuring that when they finally make their move, they cannot fail. A person like this will often seem overly interested in your future. They ask about your upcoming trips, your career goals, your long-term plans. But they are not asking out of curiosity. They are mapping out your movements. They want to know when you will be most vulnerable, when you will be alone, when you will not see them coming. Unlike obvious threats, their danger lies in their subtlety. There are no sudden outbursts, no glaring red flags. Instead, they spend months, sometimes years, building an illusion of trust. They position themselves as a friend, a mentor, a confidant. And when the moment is right, they strike in a way that ensures you never saw it coming. Marcus Aurelius warned against trusting appearances too easily, writing, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The patient enemy understands this well. They disguise their true thoughts beneath layers of false kindness, allowing you to paint them as an ally until they reveal their true nature. So how do you protect yourself? First, be mindful of those who show an unusual interest in your private life. Not everyone who asks about your future is a threat. But if someone seems too invested in knowing every detail, take note. Second, never give away more than necessary. The Stoics believed in self-sufficiency. Rely on your own judgment rather than placing blind trust in others. Finally, trust patterns, not words. A true friend proves themselves over time. A patient enemy waits until you lower your guard. If you recognize this sign in someone, understand this. You are not dealing with a minor rivalry. You are dealing with a calculated threat. And in such cases, survival depends not on reacting to danger, but on seeing it before it ever reaches you. Conclusion: the power of awareness. Not everyone who dislikes you is a threat, but some people do not just hate you. They actively plan your downfall. The greatest danger is not always the enemy you see. It is the one you ignore. The one who watches in silence, the one who betrays you in whispers, the one who stands by your side, waiting for the right moment to strike. The Stoics taught that awareness is power and clarity is protection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "To be unshaken by the opinions of others is the mark of true strength. A wise person does not live in paranoia, but neither do they walk blindly into danger." So now, ask yourself, have you ever had a gut feeling that someone was not truly on your side? Have you ignored subtle warning signs in the past, only to realize too late? Who in your life seems to always know your plans, your weaknesses, and your routines, but never truly celebrates your success? And most importantly, what will you do differently from now on to protect yourself? The people who want to see you fail rarely make themselves obvious. They work in the shadows, playing a game of patience and deception. But once you learn to see the signs, you take away their greatest advantage. If this video made you rethink certain people in your life, let me know in the comments by writing "I see clearly." Knowledge is power, but only if you apply it. Watch the next video on how to spot covert narcissists, because the most dangerous people do not announce themselves. Stay aware, stay strong, and most importantly, stay in control.